Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Ow. We got some thunder. The thunder from down under. Ah. This is RHJunior coming to you live over the internet, over the interweb, bringing you spleen squeezins. My excuse for a internet broadcast. Yes. Yes. Where I vent my opinions for all they're worth. Do a little art. Silly little dance. You're down tonight? Yeah. Oh. Okay, how y'all doing? I know it's been a long time. It's been a while since my last broadcast. It has. I've been running back and forth to the wound care clinic the past several days. I'm still going to be running back for at least another week. Going to be going back tomorrow, in fact. They're doing wraps on my legs and stuff, and it's a long story. It's annoying. Okay. And, tweet. Doing a little Twitter tweet, letting people know that I'm broadcasting. This is basically a no, I ain't dead yet broadcast. Now, I mean, they always say that doing a show about nothing is so easy, right? I gotta contest that. Got an audience of 2. Yeah. My broadcast is finally being monetized. Ads and crap. Don't even know if it'll make a plug nickel. I'm trying to warm up to getting things done and doing stuff. Okay, let's talk about stuff that I have watched over the past few days. Okay, stuff that I have watched. Yes, I saw the movies. I saw Zootopia. I saw Superman, Batman, The Rise of Justice. And I also saw the latest episode of My Little Pony. Yay. Well, not so yay. Well, I saw some of it. I skimmed it. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. It was a Pinkie Pie episode. It was a Pinkie Pie episode with Maud Pie. And look, Pinkie Pie, as she is written, is my least favorite character. Now, the fan fiction writers, the fans and the fan fiction writers, they do some they can do some very complex and very interesting things with her character. They can make her a very fun and fascinating character. But the people that make the show can't do anything with her for crap. Uh, when they put Pinkie Pie on the show, it's an excuse for them to phone it in. I don't like randomly wacky characters anyway. This is oh, it's a Pinkie Pie episode, and she's wacky, and no, I don't like Pinkie Pie very much the way she's done on the show, and I don't like Maud Pie the way she's done on the show, and when you put them together, it's like being trapped in a room. It's like being trapped in a room with the most boring adult ever in your childhood. And your little kid brother or sister who has been stuffed full of sugar all afternoon. I just want to reach through the screen and throttle her. She's like a toddler who cannot pick up a clue that her shenanigans are not entertaining. And Maud Pie standing there, utterly unamused expression on her face, and that just underlines it. If Maud Pie, you know what would change that? If Maud Pie actually smiled a little bit. It could be very subtle, if she smiled just a little bit at Pinkie Pie's shenanigans, and not just once an episode when she says, "Oh yes, I love Pinkie Pie." Through the show, when Pinkie Pie is actually acting like a crack monkey, if her sister smiled once in a while, you get the idea that would send the message. That would get the message across that Maud Pie is a very quite, and that Pinkie Pie goes off the rails like this around her just to get her to smile just a little bit. That would change the whole dynamic. You get what I'm saying? It would be obvious that Pinkie Pie was doing this just to get a little bitty smile out of her dour older sister. But instead, it looks like she's a. You ever seen a little kid, a little toddler with their mom in the store, and the kid is doing all these goofy, stupid things that little kids do, and say, "Look at me, mommy! Look at me, mommy!" And mom couldn't give a rat's ass. She's like, "Yes, honey, that's great, honey, that's terrific, honey. Let's go get the groceries, honey. Let's go. We got to go get the eggs now, honey." And the mother's completely given up on getting the kid to shut up and stop. So she's trying to ignore it, and it's not working. That's what it comes across. I feel like I'm trying. I feel like I'm watching the episode with Maud and Pinkie Pie, and I feel like I'm one of the unfortunate bystanders at one of these little episodes you see at Walmart. So I couldn't watch it all the way through. I started watching it first couple of minutes, and Pinkie Pie's acting like a toddler, pumped up on espresso, and Maud's acting like the long-suffering bored parent who's trying to do the shopping while this kid bounces around at the end of his leash. And I was like, oh, just skim through and skimmed all the way through to the end. I just couldn't take it. The people that do this show do not know how to use. They see these characters. It's a one-note joke, and it stopped being funny after the first 5 minutes of Maud and Pinkie's first episode together. Okay. No, I did not see the Zootopia documentary. I do not want to watch the Zootopia documentary. I'm not interested in going behind the scenes all that much. If I lose myself in a story, or a book or a movie, I don't want automatically to go behind the scenes and see where all the strings are being pulled. I don't want to see all the wiring underneath. I don't want to see how the magician does his magic. Especially not within the first few weeks of seeing the show. Of seeing the performance. But yes, I went and saw Zootopia. I saw Zootopia in the theater, and it was much better than I expected. Largely because current events and current social cultural issues set my expectations really, really low. I was expecting basically an hour and a half coexist bumper sticker. You've seen those. Excuse me. You've seen those retarded things. They're the word, blue bumper sticker with the words in white letters. Each of the coexist, and each of the letters is a religious symbol. From one of the world's major religions. Christianity is the T at the end, and Islam is the C at the front. And I'm like, I've seen a much better bumper sticker that says you can't coexist with people that want to kill you. Anyway, Zootopia. I was expecting, this big, oh, we need to get along, blah, 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 blah. There was that in the story. But the focus of the story was more on, it was more on the characters. It was more on, Judy Hopps trying to become a police officer and prove that she had what it took. And on Nick Wilde, the fox, finally, being pulled out of his cynicism by Judy Hopps and her determination and her optimism. It was about it was about trying, and I have to say they did at least acknowledge some realism here. They had a scene where the chief hops down, has her sit down in his office and says, it's not about how bad you want it, or how much you want it. It's about what you're capable of. Now, this is something, and this is real life. This is not like a fairy tale where you sing a pretty song and all your wishes come true. And I think that's kind of an important message to get out. I mean, you have to be determined. You have to keep trying for what you believe in, but you also have to you have to accept, one, that you're always going to get what you want. Two, that it may not be worth something that that's worth the getting. And three, that's not always a terrible thing. Sometimes there's a reason why you can't get things the way you want them, and it's a darn good one. And that you're never. I liked the speech at the end. She gave Judy Hopps ends up giving a speech at the end of the movie. She says, she came here thinking that Zootopia was this beautiful, perfect world where we all get together in harmony. He says, well, life's not like that. Life is messy. We all have our flaws. We all have our limitations. And hey, glass half full. That means we have an awful lot in common. I really have to respect that they gave credence to that. Uh, we've spent the last, I would say it's the last decade, the last 2 decades, pushing self-esteem. You can be anything. No, no, not everybody gets to be an astronaut. And there's this one meme that's been popping up on Facebook over and over again. It says, not everybody gets to be a superstar or an astronaut. It says, teach your kids that it's cool to work with your hands and build cool stuff. Not everybody's going to be a doctor or a lawyer. And there's no shame in working with your hands. I have to say seriously, when I was much younger, I was a science junkie. I loved the science class at school, just learning all these incredible things about the world. And learning how the world worked. And I had a brief fascination with engineering, the idea of mechanical engineering, building machinery, building and designing machinery and invention. The idea fascinated me of accomplishing things. But I made the mistake. I was like 12 years. I got a hold of a college textbook on engineering, and my parents had old textbooks from when they were in college, and every now and then I try and read them, and uh, you know, I was fascinated by them. I thought, the secrets of the universe could be found in these things. And I got a hold of that engineering textbook, and instead of learning how, if I'd have gotten hold of something really simple, like a book on simple machines, uh, I think I might have taken an entirely different track in my life, and it's my eternal regret that I didn't. It's my eternal regret that I didn't try and branch out. But it's like I opened up that college engineering textbook, and blam, instant brick wall. I couldn't. I would have to. I reread the first couple of paragraphs, and they were just so dense I couldn't understand anything in it. I just, you know, I tried skimming and looking at the illustrations. Oh, that's nifty. That's nifty. But around that point, I wish I knew what it was specifically, but I still love, reading about science and scientific discoveries and things like that. But my fascination with invention and discovery, somewhere along the line, it died a cruel, painful death. And about that point, when learning suddenly became a drudge, I discovered that, hey, I'm pretty good at this art stuff too. And so I opted, to be honest, I took art because it was easier. The different way, art has a lot more leeway in it. For one thing, I mean, you get a math problem wrong, they'll say, this is wrong, click, 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 and they tell you all the parts you got wrong. You do an English test, and they'll tell you, oh no, you hold your participles there, and or whatever. But in art, the approach is generally, it has to be by the nature of art. The artist, oh, that's very nice. Now here's how you can do it better. There isn't that, don't mistake this for an advocation of modern art. But there's less of a right and wrong way to do everything in art. I mean, there are a million artists with thousands of different styles, technique, methods. There's a million ways to, in any other course, there's only one way to do something. In art, there's a thousand different ways that you can draw, say, a bowl of fruit. And at that age, and at that age, at the 12, 13 years age, it was hard to find things that I was good at. And when we started taking some art classes, I discovered, hey, I'd found something that I can do good at. I think what I'm trying to say is that in most other aspirations, there's a wrong way and a right way. When you're working on math, you have to do it right. But when you're doing art, you have to do it well. Very, very significant, if subtle, difference. I like to say, let's see, we've got an audience of 5 people. 5, 5. I was so flipped out when I realized, one of the traditional weaknesses of a vampire. One of the traditional weaknesses of a vampire is that if you want to keep them from entering your home or from following you on a trail, you take a handful of beans or a handful of grains or whatever and scatter it on the path behind you or in front of your doorstep. If they see it, they will be forced to stop and count it. And if you threw out enough of them, they could be stuck there until sunrise, at which point they die. And then I remember, oh, that's pretty interesting. Then I remembered a certain puppet on Sesame Street by the name of the Count. I'm like, oh, well, what do you know? Anyway, I am very interested to see what they're going to do for a sequel to this movie. To the sequel of Zootopia. Because there's a lot of interesting directions they could go. They are. Now, let's see. We got NDGB, MDBJC. We've got Cartoon Glutton. We've got Amiga Dragon. We've got Lord Firebeard. And we've got Daniel Meyer. Oh, goodness. Let's see here. One for the old Vic. And like I was saying earlier, I've been running back and forth to the hospital for the wound care clinic because the sores on my leg. Because I get these ulcers on my leg. You know, I'm sure you're all going, ugh, throat and all that. But just so you know, uh, with edema of the legs, where there's extreme swelling of the legs, if I get a cut or a sore on my leg, the fluids in my leg start leaking out. Uh, and it makes it very hard for the wound to heal. So I have to be careful of cuts and scrapes and things like that. Well, anyway, they're keeping they've been wrapping my legs up in these things they call Una boots. Basically, it's like a layer, 2 or 3 layers of bandage. Well, actually, 2 layers. Depends on how you count it. But anyway, 2 or 3 layers of bandage topped with ace bandages to keep them compressed. And they put like this wound, this antibacterial cocktail on top, and then they put some absorbent pads, and then they wrap it in this plaster bandage type stuff, and then they wrap it in lace. And I have to go back every 2 days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so that they can cut the darn thing off and put a new one on. Because they're trying to squeeze my leg down a little bit. They're also trying to keep it compressed, trying to keep it a clean wound. This is not something I can get done at home. So there you have it. Anyway, that's why I've been back and forth since Friday last week. In case you were wondering. So that's fun, you know. Makes bathing and showering real fun too. Can't get the bandage wet. Come on, everybody say something, I need to, I need feedback. I need, life. Signs of life. Come on. Let me know you're there. To For those who are wondering, the art currently up on Tales of the Quest page is just filler. It's a commission somebody wanted. Haven't figured out who it is yet. Have to go backtrack. No, I have not seen Lion Guard. No idea what it is. Oh, I've been reading a fan fiction on fanfiction.net called by Hyaru, Hyarro. I've actually been reading two of them. It's Harry Potter fan fiction. Uh, it's called Weasley Girl. Basic premise is that instead of Ron Weasley being a boy, he's a girl. He's Ronnie or Veronica Weasley. That doesn't sound like much. That doesn't sound like much of and you figure, oh, it's just shipping, crack pairing kind of story. But This day is rather different from the usual Rule 63 style story. Uh, the author has really, really, really thought this out, and that's no exaggeration. They just don't go for the radical changes. It literally starts out. The only difference to start things out is that instead of a Ron Weasley, it's Veronica Weasley. Everything else is just the differences start out as very subtle, and they naturally progress into a very different world story. For instance, because Veronica, Ron, I'll spit it out today. Because Ronnie Weasley is a girl. She has a Ginny Weasley, the youngest one. She has somebody to bond with in her family. She and Ronnie have a much closer relationship than Ron Weasley and Ginny did, which means is that Ginny didn't feel as isolated. She was not as the only Weasley girl, and so they handle when they discovered Voldemort's diary, they handled it entirely different. Uh, Ron Weasley and Hermione's friendship, it's a friendship. It starts out entirely differently because the differences in how girls relate to each other versus how boys and girls relate to each other, and it changes up everything in very subtle ways that rapidly progress. And the author is only up to the second year, and it is a very fascinating read. The only questionably non-canonical, the only questionably, off the wall side change is that uh, Veronica Weasley, uh, she has a natural affinity for animals. And whether they're magical or non-magical, animals seem to like her. And the author points out the reason that she did is because she noticed that in the canonical books, the various, it doesn't show up much and it's rather subtle, but animals seem to take, a liking to Ron. For instance, Hagrid's boarhound Fang slobbers all over Ron when they visit the first time, and she decided to go with that. Make that Veronica Weasley's quote unquote thing instead of chess. So, but it's a very good read, very clever, and it's a very good story in its own right. Okay, I'm gonna be back in just a minute. Uh, Give me right back. And back again. Uh, yeah. Oh, woof. Got a kid that I don't want to do nothing blues. That's my problem. Got just ignore it and keep going. Uh, they've painted, with this story though, with Zootopia, they kind of painted themselves into some interesting corners. Now, they've got it so the racism in their society is basically predator versus prey, and they're convinced predators make up 1/10 of the population, which is approximately it's which is more or less a nod to accuracy. Uh, to prey outnumber predators big time in real life, but it's so that every and they don't put it all on one species. They don't put it all on one species, or even on all entirely on predators. Various stereotypes and so forth. They sort of go round robin with it. Where you can't call a bunny cute unless you're another bunny. That kind of thing. Uh, but it does present interesting. For instance, it kind of the whole predator versus prey thing ignores the fact that it's not that simple. You have a rather complicated food pyramid out there in nature. You didn't just have predators and prey; you had low-level predators, high-level predators, apex predators. You had you had carnivores, obligate carnivores, omnivores, insectivores, piscivores, fish eaters. Yeah, they took the shortcut of lumping all carnivores into one. Anything that ate meat, whether it was omnivore, herbivore, omnivore, obligate carnivore, or non-obligate, got lumped under predator. And I'm kind of wondering what's going. Are they going to expand on that eventually? This is as much fan fiction writing ideas as anything else. I mean, consider the mid-range role of your average raccoon. Now, a raccoon is a predator. It is also an omnivore. Eats both meat and fruits and vegetables. Fish. It's a very broad spectrum omnivore. It is also a prey animal to many other species. Wolves, hawks, owls. It's an aspect of it they don't really think about. Another thing I noticed is that they did. One of the things that it's all mammals. They constantly. They even refer to it. In the movies, every mammal species. Uh, which begs the question of where are the birds? Where are the reptiles? Where are the amphibians? If you look at some of the signage, it's obvious that they use fish for food. But well, what are what? For instance, what are reptiles? Are they unintelligent animals? Are they livestock for the predators? Pets? Or are they an intelligent race that refused to get enlightened with the times uh, and is outcast from their society? There's a lot of possibilities there. The fact that predators are viewed prejudicially as being vicious, violent, bloodthirsty, and even cannibalistic, it makes you wonder, just how long ago were all the different animal species supposed to have become intelligent? Because if it was tens of thousands or millions of years ago, it would be the equivalent of you or me going, "Oh, you can't trust those Mesopotamians." You be minding your business. They sneak up behind you with those fancy bronze axes, and you know, so how recently have predators? How recently did predators stop preying on prey animals? Makes you wonder. You know, I wonder if they're going to expand on it. I wonder if the franchise is going to explore that, or whether it's going to be left entirely up to the fan writers to come up with something. I've already looked around. Just out of curiosity, I looked around. There are already a couple hundred Zootopia fan fictions up. Fairly long ones too. I tried to make chili for myself. I'm feeling bloated. I feel bleh. Maybe run into the restroom again in a few minutes. Maybe sooner. Uh, If they do a sequel, I suspect one of the subplots is going to be interspecies romance. I mean, it was obvious they were hinting at it through the. When I first saw the ads for that, and he said, "Let's talk about Zootopia anthropomorphics," and I thought every furry fan on the planet right now is going, "Yes, we have arrived. We are mainstream." Seriously, for years, decades. I'm not kidding you, decades even. Uh, Furry fans, anthropomorphic fans have been speculating. What would it take for the furry fandom to go mainstream? And here it is. This is the first movie openly said anthropomorphics. Called it right there. And the movie. I mean, it's like point for point on the most common fur fandom tropes. I've noticed this trend in a lot of things. I've noticed this trend in a lot of things. Uh, when it comes to innovation, whether culturally, uh, socially, technologically, I will not lie. It's very observant. It's very observable that the earliest adapters of a culture of a technology or cultural shift, the technology is generally first used for things related to sex. But whether we're talking a new art form or a new writing style, a new writing style or genre, a new entertainment technology, a new cultural paradigm. Uh, among the earliest adapters, and this is arguably to our detriment as a species. It doesn't say too much about us that's positive. Among the earliest adopters are those who are adopting it for purposes of sex. Let's take an example. The example. This is the number one example. Now, for years, I'm talking since before your granddad's time, they have been telling people that the school textbooks said that the first home electronic appliance was the sewing machine. No, it was not. The first mass-produced, marketed home electrical appliance was the vibrator. I'm not lying. It was the first electronic device sold in the Sears catalog. I'm not kidding. What it was is that back in the days of yore, they had this medical condition. It is all swamp gas and you know and nonsense. Among women, they called hysteria. It was supposed to have to do with uh, buildup of I forget what exactly the definition of it was, but it does. The word hysteria did not mean what it does today. It referred to uh, what was supposedly a feminine condition involving stress and uh, emotional trauma due to imbalances. Just look it up on just look it up on Wikipedia. But anyway, the treatment was for the woman to go to a doctor, and he would use manual stimulation to relieve the condition. Yes, it's just what you're thinking. Well, apparently this was a popular condition to have and a popular treatment because doctors they were basically getting tennis elbow from all their female patients, requesting relief from hysteria's symptoms. And so they invented battery powered vibrators to make the job easier. Well, they weren't battery powered, they were plug in. And of course, to appeal to the doctor's sense of, I don't know, to appeal to their sense of separation from the issue and proprietors. I mean, these things were plug into the wall appliances, and some of them were so big they had to be wheeled into the doctor's office on a cart. But they started making home portable ones, quite soon after that, and started marketing them as stress relievers and back massagers. It was the first it was the first household electrical device. Was the woman's vibrator. Now, the earliest use of cameras and photography was for porn. Same for early moving cameras. It became very popular in certain one of the earlier adapters. Uh, the first thing people started talking about with virtual reality was virtual sex. Uh, Another example. I had several others on on the top of my brain here. The printing press, the Gutenberg press. Everybody talks about how it was used to print the first Bibles. What most people don't know, it was also used to print the first printed porn. Again, porn. Uh, and you go on and you go on and you go on and you go on. Uh, Makeup was originally only used by prostitutes. Is another example. Uh, there are dozens of examples of cultural innovations and technological innovations and artistic innovations. I mean, you look at some of this. I'm sorry. I don't care how hard you pretend. They weren't carving statues of naked women uh, because they were, uninhibited. They were carving because they were horny. Let's be real. Nobody spends that much time perfectly smoothing a marble boob because he's so artistically enlightened. It comes down to people who are, shall we say, sexually uninhibited tend to be more likely to be risk takers with new things. And the early starts of the anthropomorphic fandom have been heavily dominated by people with salacious interests. This, of course, regrettably causes the delay of the adaptation, and adoption of new things into a culture society because, first of all, the people, the mainstream is uncertain about new ideas, new technologies, new arts, and then they come and find out that all the circus freaks on the fringe of society have adopted, and they like, yeah, and they don't want anything to do with it. Come on in. Hello. Thought it was somebody at the door. I hate that. Uh, excuse me. Hate driving back and forth. Now, all I'm talking about this is that anthropomorphics as a self-defined fandom has finally come into maturity where a mainstream company is willing to openly express it. And, well, frankly, it's the fault of those, uh, people don't seem to realize is that these uh, libertine attitudes is what delays something from being accepted in mainstream society. Or they refuse to accept it as a self evident truth, rather. You try and point out to these people, maybe the reason that people don't want to accept furry fans, publicly is because of all the freaks that are being willingly accepted into the furry community, and they'd rather be angry and self-righteous about it than consider go, he may have a point. Food for thought. It's alright, I just drifted off for a second. Just trying to focus my brain and went out of focus. Uh, mm, ouch. It's sore. Legs are starting to do that burning thing again. excuse me. Now, well, having trouble focusing. I'm letting my mind drift. As soon as the mind wanders far enough, I start dozing off. Yeah, and I do apologize if I keep dropping off in the middle of the show, and you probably hear me snoring on and off. That's the way a ball bounces sometimes. legs again. Excuse me. Oh, I can't believe it. I can't seem to stay awake for 5 minutes. This is ridiculous. I am sorry, guys. Let's focus here. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to stick around much longer either. I keep zoning out and dropping off. The reason, as I was saying earlier, the reason I have not been online for quite some time is because I've been all over the place. I've been back and forth to the wound care center at the local hospital. They're wrapping my legs and putting them through a wrapping process. I go back every couple of days and have my legs re-wrapped. Going to be doing that for at least another week. And for those who weren't here when I said yes, I went and saw Zootopia, and it was very good, and I enjoyed it, and it was much better than I expected it to be. Largely because they did not. What I was basically expecting was a hour and a half long coexist bumper sticker. I was fortunate; it was much better than I expected it to be. And it has me look forward to whatever they might do with the franchise. I'm gonna have to get some more reference pictures. Fix that up. Okay, let's see. This thing doesn't post names and nicknames. It does not post what times people said things. It doesn't it the chat window in this thing is really substandard. Doesn't have the features it needs. Doesn't tell you how long it's been since the last person spoke. Doesn't tell you nothing. Ow, 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 ow. Bruised something. Okay. Okay, we've been at it for about an hour 45 minutes. That's not very long, but I'm going to go ahead and call it. I will see you. I will. I should be home at 5 tomorrow. We'll be able to pick up where we left off at 6 tomorrow afternoon. Beg pardon. Oh, whoa, woof. Yeah. Yeah, I know, Riley. I couldn't bring myself, like I was saying earlier. I tried to watch it, and bring myself to it. Pinkie Pie, the way they write Pinkie Pie in the show, she's my least favorite character. Particularly of the main six. I never really liked the Maud, and when they put them together, it's tooth grating. As I described it, it's like being it's like being in a grocery store. You've been in a grocery store, and this woman comes in, and she's got you'll see some mom come in, and she'll have some toddler there. Uh, that's bouncing around like a Super Ball on espresso, right? And doing all that goofy silliness that kids, just hyper kids get up to, and she is bored to death to be there, and she couldn't care less. And the kid's like, "Mommy, mommy, 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 looky, 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 looky." That's what I get from seeing Maud Pie and Pinkie Pie together. It's twice the it's like annoying squared. Okay, dull, unamused characters that never smile or interact with anybody are boring, and I don't like them. Characters who are just wacky for the sake of being wacky are tooth grating. It's like chewing tinfoil, annoying. And you put the two together, it's like a Voltron of annoying. Okay. So no, couldn't. I skimmed over it. It's like, psh, not getting anything out of this. No. Next. Yeah. I never even really liked Daria because it was obvious she was a stuck-up. Wanted to reach through the screen, grab her by the neck, and say, "Pull the stick out." She was a snob she was just a typical snotty, surly teenager who was just too cool for the room. Couldn't stand her. I always wanted to do a scene when one character comes there and she's being her usual self. The character's in shop class, picks up a chair, takes a drills a hole in the seat and hands it to her. What's this for? Because you obviously needed room for the stick. Nobody seemed to get the meta joke. Okay, you know how Daria's favorite TV show was Sick Sad World. You know why people watch shows like that in real life is because they're conceited. They want to feel superior to somebody else without any effort. This is why this is why people watch Dr. Phil. And every teenager goes through this. Every teenager goes through this. They go through this. They reach the age where they figured out that Santa Claus isn't real and the Easter Bunny ain't looking too healthy either. And they figured out that mom and dad aren't perfect and infallible and everything. And they spend at least a year or two going around sneering at everything. And on a running scale of surly teenager to goth. That's what you get. And no, you figured out the world. You figured out the world isn't all sunshine and buttercups. What do you want? A cookie? Everybody has to go through that age. They have to go through that phase where they figure out that the world isn't like kindergarten. It isn't all nice and friendly and happy, smiley sunshine. They have to figure out that the world has some lumps. That nothing is perfect. But if you get stuck there, that doesn't make you sophisticated. It makes you a 14-year-old teenager. Pinkie Pie and Maud are a one-note joke. They're not, they're one joke. That's it. Pinkie Pie's wacky and excitable. Her sister is her exact opposite. Dull as rocks. Ho ho ha ha hee hee. How funny, how clever, how witty. No, none of the above. And I wanted to cry when I saw what they did with their family. Look, we get the idea. What gets me is that Pinkie Pie's origin story is that she was miserable on that farm, right? She was miserable. She said to herself, no fun, no smiles, just rocks. And it was her cutie mark that let her get away from that. And they bring her back to her family for the holidays, and they're just as awful as she described, and she's acting like she's visiting Disneyland. And yeah, I loved how they were fundamentalist, dour, joyless religious types too. And yet, despite the fact that Pinky is in denial about how horrible her family is living, and, somehow Applejack is in the wrong for saying anything or doing anything about it. You know, Applejack is a horrible person for trying to make their horrible holiday better. Kiss my politically incorrect butt. Ugh. I've read some of the fan fictions that come out after that episode. Is like your heart just bleeds for the daughters because it's obvious they're living in an Amish slash Quaker hell. They had one fan fiction where the protagonist is basically trapped in Nightmare Moon's body. Well, anyway, they come to visit Pinkie Pie's family, and they arrive just in time. Uh, uh, Pinkie Pie's mother and father are telling Marble Pie. You remember the small shy one? They see Nightmare Moon coming and take the opportunity to tell their daughter, there she is. She's come to take you away, take your soul away to Tartarus because you cut your hair too short. Yeah, arranged marriage, children. Just, oh my God. I'm like, somebody write a story where the daughters are are rescued from this family before they get married off to some rock shoving mode. My father once tried to push off this. Back when they had arranged marriages, you didn't have all these divorces either. I mean, yeah, back when they had arranged marriages, divorce was basically adultery, and you were stoned to death for it. Good night. I so badly wanted to have Pinkie Pie. At just one point, she finally breaks down and just breaks down in tears and confesses to, yes, I know it's horrible. This is the way it's always been. This is our society. This is our culture. We are not allowed. We're not allowed. It's politically incorrect to criticize any culture but our own, no matter how horrible it is. This is our world. This is our life. This is our society. There are days I feel like there are days I feel like we're trapped in an insane asylum. I didn't want to talk politics. I didn't want to talk politics about, especially. I didn't want to talk about Muslims. I'm tired of talking about Muslims. But don't, they're everywhere. They're breaking and setting fire on everything, and you can't get away from it. And you can't get away from what is making this happen. And what is making this happen is the fact that our society has reached a point where it won't even take its own side in an argument. People are literally standing around waving signs and singing kumbaya while less than a block away, uh, Muslim rioters are burning are smashing cars, burning buildings, and raping women. They would rather see Europe die in flames than have somebody tell them that they're being prejudiced against a culture. I think this is going to keep going on and keep going on and keep going on until finally there's going to come a group of people who are going to, they're going to come a group of Teutonic throwbacks who are going to get up, they're going to pick up their sword, pick up their shield, and say, I'll see your jihad and raise you one crusade. And those poor bastards are going to be, they're going to go down fighting, caught between the Islamic hordes on one side and their own political leaders on the other, shooting them in the back. Now, this is why I was so reluctant. This is why I got more and more reluctant to go see Zootopia, because I figured this was going to be another one of these stupid messages. Is all we're getting from our entertainers and our cultural trendsetters. Coexist, coexist. They're a religion of peace. We need to be mule and puke, mule and puke. That was what I figured. That's what I figured that was all it was going to be. I just saw a photo recently, a bunch of 20, 30, 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old Muslim men lined up with their 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old wives. Tuxedos, bridal gowns, the whole 9 yards. Their culture is a culture of rape, child molestation, pedophilia. And little boys are old men's toys in Islamic cultures. They recently drummed an American soldier out of service because he beat the crap out of a man he caught raping a little boy. He was one of these advising on some Muslim native. He'd been selected as an advisor to their camp. He was supposed to, help them root out the insurrectionists. And this soldier came to find out that this guy was bringing little boys into the camp. And then people were reporting they could hear the screaming. Tracked a guy down, body slammed him into the ground, and told him he'd better never come back with another little boy like that again, or he was going to leave in pieces. And our military took this soldier and threw him out. And they wonder why I'm so just there. There are days where I'm just on the border of tears of rage. Our nation has sold its soul to the devil. And the cost is going to come in blood. Our nation is about to fall. The Western Empire is about to fall. May take another year, may take another 10 years. But God is about to lay us low. And he's not even going to have to lift a finger himself. He'll just let us reap the consequences of what we have sowed. That's a bitter note to end any night on. What can we say? What can we do? Not much individually. Not much at all. There's a couple of people. On both sides of the line. There's the cultural mainstream people, but there's also a lot of people, uh, religious people with an axe to grind. They're trying to make Zootopia into a gay pride message. It's not even the homosexuals that are trying it this time. It's this one columnist, supposed Christian columnist, just a blogger, came out and he said, tried to draw all sorts of ridiculous parallels. The real kicker is when he said that the one fox back in Bunnyboro who became a baker. And he goes on, a baker, a traditionally gay business. I'm like, wow, you're out of the loop, dude. No. In our culture, a bakery is the kind of business that gay people try to shut down for refusing their business. I don't know, gay bakers. Okay, on what planet is a bakery the where? Huh? Oh, I mean, I'll confess, I went in with an axe to grind. I figured I was going to see another, you know, this is what I'd been made to expect from the reviews. I was expecting to see another coexist bumper sticker, like I said. But there were some aspects of that, but they weren't the focus of the movie, and for which I am eternally thankful. But I know sooner or later they're gonna come out with give them 5 minutes, they'll have another bumper sticker slogan movie out there. I also saw Superman, Batman, Superman, Batman, the Rise of Justice, Dawn of Justice, whatever it's called. Okay, this director is a retard. Okay, he's terrible. He has no business directing a Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman movie. The movie was a mess. Look, okay, grim and gritty, grim and gritty works for Batman. It's not Superman though. It's not good on one. It doesn't look good on Wonder Woman, and it's not Superman. Okay, the Superman reboot was a big mistake because instead of making him this icon of justice, that's what Superman is. He's Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and to a certain extent Batman. They were all supposed to be these icons. These bright shining heroes that were an inspiration. And that's what the original classic Superman movie got. He's super. He's bigger than life, but he's still, just inspirational. This made us dark, gritty, controversial. What the hell? Okay, but his this guy's formula is take a Batman super take Batman, take take three iconic superheroes, roll them in grit, hand them an idiot ball, and film the results. And there were parts of the movie that were good. There were sections of the movie that were really impressive, just like in the original. Just like in the Superman movie. Just like in the Superman Returns movie, just like in the Man of Steel movie, there were parts of it that you were sitting there and you watched and you went, "Ooh, awesome!" And that was great. But none of it was stuck together. It was like the guy took a couple of good movies, chopped chunks out of them, and spackled them all together into a 2 hour farce. You're sitting there watching these, terrible, and the editing was terrible. The plot was this clunky disjoint. You spent half the movie trying to figure out what was the connection from this scene to that scene. I guess the guy, and the way they portrayed Lex Luthor, I guess the guy decided that since he didn't have Heath Ledger to play the Joker, he was going to make Lex Luthor, Joker 2. He's coming. You know, turned him into a twitchy, spastic freak. He has Batman, Mister No Killing. Batman, code against killing. Right? Remember that? He had, world greatest detective, and Lex Luthor sends him a couple of notes scrawled on blank checks, and tricks him into trying to kill Superman. What the hell? What the hell, director? What the ever loving hell? And he doesn't know what to do with Lois Lane. She's in danger. She's out of danger. She's back in danger again. She's out of danger again. She throws the kryptonite away. She goes to get it back. She gets trapped. She's freed. She's trapped again. She's freed again. The only thing that the movie really got right was ironically Wonder Woman. The one character that nobody seems to be able to do anything right with, they got right this time. Okay, she didn't come. She wasn't the '70s Wonder Woman, and she wasn't a feminist icon or anything. She came in. She appears late in the movie. She's basically there just in time for the arrival of Doomsday, and she leaps right into the fray. She takes out her sword, she takes out her shield, and she jumps straight at the monster. She's not a feminist icon. She's not a Cupid doll either. And she's not a man bashing uh, uh, dyke either. She comes in. She's an Amazon. and she comes in and fights like a warrior. I'll give them this too, is a very accurate portrayal. You think about it. Superman, he doesn't. Superman is not a fighter. He is so powerful that most of the adversaries he faces, he doesn't even have to. He doesn't even have to try. It's like a grown man versus a toddler at best. And when he meets when he meets a real threat, he doesn't know how to throw a punch. He doesn't really know how to throw a punch or how to fight hand to hand. He's never had to. And when he's going up against Doomsday, it shows. And when he's going up against Batman, it shows. The only time things are going his way is whenever Batman keeps hitting him with kryptonite weapons, and then the kryptonite wears off, and the tide turns in Superman's favor. What a surprise! Uh, Batman fights like somebody. He fights like a rogue. He strikes from behind. He strikes from the shadows. But when he gets backed into a corner by the monster, it's like, oh shit. But Princess Diana, she shows up in her her Greek armor, and I gotta say, brilliant design for the costume. It takes the old costume, it takes the old one-piece swimsuit idea of the costume, throws in some Greco-Roman, the Greek armor look, with the pleated, the leather skirt thing, and they give her a sword and a shield, and she fights like a warrior. So I got to give them props on that. You know, the differences in the heroes you can see in their fighting styles. But beyond that it is a cluttered mess. It is just a cluttered mess. They can't seem to get the message. Okay, people go to Batman. He can pull off grim and gritty. He's supposed to be grim and gritty. But Superman, nobody goes to a Superman movie to watch Clark Kent cry in his beer. Oh, woe is me. I'm so alone. I'm the most powerful man in the world, and I have a beautiful actress, a beautiful news reporter hanging off me like a necktie. I'm so lonely. I am so isolated. I just don't know my role in life. Oh, jeez, get out of my face and bring me, bring back Christopher Reeve. Mm. Nothing seems to wake me up like irritation. I've noticed that. I'll be doing this show, and and I won't have gotten much sleep, and I'll be conking out at the keyboard. Then someone brings up a political issue, and wow, like 40 cups of coffee. No, it's they need a new director. They need a new direction for the franchise if they are going to compete uh, with the Marvel Comics. They've made a mess of Spider-Man because they're trying to do the same thing with Spider-Man that this director did with Superman, and it isn't working. I'm sorry, Tobey Maguire was a great a great Peter Parker, and the original trilogy was much better than the movies they've come out with now for Spider-Man. I'm sorry, the new Spider-Man, the hipper, cooler Spider-Man. That's what gets me. They made him a hipper, cooler Spider-Man, which totally made Peter Parker hipper and cooler, which totally missed the point of Peter Parker. Peter Parker was supposed to be a dork. He was supposed to be a nerd and a science geek that all the other kids picked on. And when he got his powers and he became Spider-Man, his wisecracking fun side came out from behind the mask. He takes the mask off. He's shy, awkward Peter Parker. He puts the mask on. He's the smart alecky, fabulous Spider-Man. And these new movies, okay, no, okay, his name is Peter Parker, not Peter Parkour. That annoyed the hell. Even before he had his powers, they had him out there skateboarding. The real Peter Parker does not skateboard, okay, and he certainly doesn't go out and start doing parkour off the local scenery. He also doesn't steal. In this, he actually, he got his powers and his web shooters by stealing from LexCorp. They're killing my friend. They're killing my favorite heroes. Pardon. When I was a kid, that link doesn't work. By the way, I just tried it. Doesn't work. Images work full AMA Amazon Prime Little Horse. That link doesn't work. Amiga Dragon. That link does not work. Please repost it. I really hope so. If they make him a black Spider-Man, I'm just leaving. Just quit. What are you getting up so sad? Why does color matter so much? Why does color matter so much to you? You gotta change it. I get so tired of them talking about whitewashing. They're taking these characters and making them white people. What are they doing now? They're taking old characters, legacy characters, turning them into minorities, swapping their genders out, making them homosexual. That link you offered does not work. It assets.creativityonline.com, images /images/work/full/a/m/a. Where is your Facebook chat? Omega Dragon, really? Oh, come on, computer. Omega Dragon. Please try again. Okay, you're saying posting it to Facebook chat. Where do I go to find your Facebook chat? This is no help. Uh, this is what it's like. This is what it's like getting questions. This is like chatting and trying to get feedback in this, talking on this channel and trying to get feedback on this chat room channel. It's like the scene with the sloths in Zootopia. You Flash, I'm the rabbit. It's an Amazon Prime. Oh, for crying! Never mind. Just try and get us. Oh, where's the? Fuyana? Just what is? What is this? I don't know, Sonny Shear. I don't know. I don't watch TV. Not because, and I'm not like these people. I don't watch TV. I'm just too hip and trendy for that. No, I don't watch TV because I don't have any TV worth watching. It's I could sit, I could get broadcast TV if I wanted. One channel, maybe. I haven't got any cable. I've got Netflix, so and I watch that on my computer. So, but and there's really not much on Netflix either. All right, with the little horse and the big truck.
Little man, when you stand by my side, then I know I don't have to hide from anyone. And I pray that we'll stay just that way till the day comes along when we catch the sun.
Okay, yeah, horse door. I'm enthralled. Yeah. Uh, in real life, those horses just don't look cute to me. They look deformed. Why isn't anybody out there? Look, look. I'm gonna play this for y'all. Let me switch the camera over. It's Red Letter Day for the Religion of Peace. Let's see. Uh,
Vamos, لا لما تقولوا
They should have pulled out a gun. I don't care. Those cops should have pulled out a gun, aimed into the crowd, and just started shooting. They couldn't have hit an innocent person if they tried. And our glorious leader wants us to stand by and let this happen. I'm serious. The cops should have just marched out, pulled out their guns, and just opened fire. They want to meet Allah. I suggest we start arranging the visitation. No, I did not find the unicorn pick. Oh, you mean that rhino thing? Yeah. No. It's a furry rhino. Are you people paying attention? to what I just showed you. That is what your president and your leaders want to happen in our streets. We're losing. We're losing because nobody wants to fight. You cannot coexist with animals. And the people that swore to protect our nations and our people, not the soldiers, far cry from that, but the leaders and the politicians, and the diplomats, congressmen and presidents, the ones who swore to uphold the Constitution and protect the United States, have betrayed us. And they have tied the hands of those who would defend us. I'm so terribly sorry if that spoiled your evening. It's going to spoil a whole lot more than just your evening if we don't do something about it. Okay. Said this almost an hour ago, but I'm going to call it a night now. To my fellow Christians, say a prayer. Say a prayer for me, because Lord knows I need them. Say a prayer for our nation, because it needs them just as bad. Y'all take care of yourselves. I do not know if I will be back on tomorrow night. I'll post on Twitter if I do. But y'all take care of yourselves. Have a good night.